Good morning and welcome to Conversations with Sophia. Via Gemella Art House presents. This morning we are talking with Mr. Philip Davis from the Eden Farming Club. Mr. Davis, welcome to the Via Gemella Art House. You're sitting in front of the art house. Today we are going to have a very interactive session with Mr. Davis, who is going to introduce us to his farming club. I'm dressed in the part. I have my gloves. We're sitting 3 feet apart, being socially distanced for this session. And again, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
So this morning we're going to talk a little bit about farming and the country's initiatives regarding farming. And I just, by way of introduction, the United Nations 2030 agenda on the Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, it was 17 goals from the Sustainable Development. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The Bahamas has fully committed to joining the rest of the world, if you will, on these Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 12 in particular speaks to the responsible consumption and production of foods and so on, with a number of targets. One of those targets being ending hunger through targeted efforts in farming and so on. That is the one that I want to speak to a little bit more on today. You have a wonderful farming club. So I want to ask you please to, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into farming, and just how does it support the country's initiative when it comes to sustainable production of food and so on.
Okay. Thank you very much once again for having me here at the your yard and your art studio. My name is Philip Davis Jr., as she has stated, graduate of St. Andrew's School, born in 1981, so I'm not too old, not too young. I'm pretty much right in the middle of old wine, you would say.
Yes.
Yeah, the farming part of it, how I got into it, pretty much my mom used to do breakfast platters and stuff with the government, and when they were having their meetings, she would complain about the prices of tomatoes and other raw materials that she would need to get these breakfast platters. Me wanting to fix a problem, come up with solutions instead of just hearing grumbling and complaining, I figured, hey, why don't I just try to grow the tomatoes? And I ended up growing the first set and ended up becoming really, really good at it. Stretched out my green thumb, went into other crops and varieties of vegetables and seasonings and stuff, and I ended up being really, really good at it. So
Now, did you go to school for this, or did this just happen to be a passion of yours?
it ended up being a hobby, turned into passion, turned into lifestyle, turned into career now. Because I'm a marketing major.
Okay.
Worked at Burns House, sold liquor and stuff like that for about 10 years or so.
That's not a part of the sustainable goals.
Oh no! But it is a part of our sustaining our bodies. You need a little piece of alcohol inside there.
We have to check the veracity of that. But go on.
Yes.
Cindy.
So the farming part of it, and trying to help out with a problem and creating a solution for my mother with the breakfast platters. Relating that into the sustainable program with the world and the Bahamas, nobody should go hungry. We shouldn't have children going to school and stuff thinking about what they're going to eat or how it's going to be after school or anything like that. And if we can get the farming initiative inside people's yards and into the schools, we'll be able to produce the right foods that we should be putting into our bodies.
And that is what sustainability is all about, being able to produce today for generations to come.
Exactly.
And we know our forefathers did a wonderful job of farming. How has farming changed from back in the day to what it presently presents as farming?
I would say that it has changed in terms of the technology and the sciences of it. You see a lot of people getting turning away from the old school style of going into the grounds. They're doing the raised beds. They're
Rock
doing
oil
the
farming and so on.
they're doing the aquaponics. They're doing the hydroponics. They're even doing air layering and stuff like that. So there's different techniques in which they're using now that it isn't rudimentary. That we're going back into the ground itself.
Now, what is you mentioned air layering. I'm assuming that's how you layer the soil to allow air filtration through it.
That's aeration.
That's aeration.
That's
Okay,
a
so
part
that's
of it.
different.
So the air layering is actually when they're grafting the tree and they're putting it on and they're allowing more oxygen to get to the roots itself, and it's not really involving soil. So it's sprinklings of water and stuff getting onto the roots so the minerals could get in through there, and then it's more oxygen.
Right.
So you have thicker, whiter roots.
I see.
Yeah.
So you have been able I've watched you for a few months now posting on social media. How do you think that is assisting in getting the message out about what you do as far as farming and how is it helping you? You have a marketing degree. That's a very good combination to be able to take your product to market at the end of the day, or sell your passion to others. So how is social media helping you with that?
Oh, social media, I couldn't pay for exactly what I'm getting right now. How this actually started with me doing videos, I had a friend, Tamara Boak, asked me to he said, man, why don't you just do a clipping or two explaining what you're doing, and it might help out a person or two.
Right.
So I was trying to use it as a catalyst to show people that this is possible, because as you were saying, I'm a marketing major.
Right.
I didn't know anything about farming. So if I could jump into it, my concept is that anybody else should be able to do it. So the videos and the tutorials and stuff that I put out was really just to show people, all right, these are the simple steps that you can do. It's not that drastic, and you can achieve exactly what you want. And I saw a lot of messages coming back, a lot of people saying, man, you don't understand what you did for me and this and that. And it just started off as something small as that.
And would you say that you have been able to impact a number of persons in terms of production of crop at the end of the day?
Yeah, yeah. Well, from when I started actually teaching sustainable farming in the prison.
Ew.
So, yep, I did that for about 3 months or so with Bamsey. We went from the seedlings. I showed them how to propagate, how to transplant and all of that. And that really gave me my confidence that I can go out and show this to anybody else.
You mentioned Bamsey, and we know that that is the one of the country's major facilities for the teaching, if you will, of the whole concept of sustainability and sustainable crop production and so on. What else have you been able to do with them? Anything else other than what you have done already? And what do you think about being able to replicate that kind of an institute elsewhere throughout the country? It's currently in Andros, one of the largest island in the Bahamas. What about taking a smaller version of that institute, perhaps to some of the far-flung islands, and allowing them to also participate, if you will, in crop production?
I think that they're actually on that path right now of branching out to the family islands. I think for since the COVID came up, they were doing a package similar to what we're doing here as well, where they send out the seedling tray, they send you the soil to start off with, they send you the seeds and fertilizers and stuff, and they also have the information packets to say when to plant certain things, how to plant them, all the spacings and everything like that. So what I see Bamsey is a great utility tool and resources. So they're able to combine with all their partners throughout the Caribbean. I know Dr. Singh, Michelle Singh, she's excellent. So what she does is if there's problems and stuff with a certain crop, she'll find out what like Guyana or Trinidad is doing with it, what are their best practices, and she's able to bring that information back to the Bahamas and And we're trying that now and stuff as well. And vice versa, things that are working well for us here, we're able to send those off to the
Absolutely,
other
sharing the
Caribbean
knowledge.
islands.
The BAIC is also obviously a facilitator of a lot of backyard farming and different initiatives. That is the government's corporation. And what do you think about what they are doing now? I know that they are doing quite a bit of assistance with farming and crop production and teaching and so on. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because I have another question, another comment regarding an offshoot of something that they can be doing.
I know that I've seen a couple of initiatives from before this pandemic and whilst this pandemic is going on. They were asking local farmers on the Family Islands to send in a video of medicinal plants or how we use the plants in the Bahamas and stuff. So they're creating this membership or this club-like feeling as well throughout the farming community of the widespread of the Bahamas. So now you're having this dialogue between different farmers, and it's like a different, yeah, it's like a different love language that's happening. Like I was saying before about the tourism inside the Bahamas. I think I had this conversation with you somewhere else. About the tourism in the Bahamas. People used to envy about how we used to live.
Yes.
Sharing our love and stuff like that. You could walk into somebody's house and just see the plethora of fruits and vegetables that was either grown inside your yard or within the neighborhood. And that this feeling or this sense is coming back. Because now that we're seeing with this COVID, nobody wants to wait 3-4 hours on a line in the food store.
Exactly.
You want the best products possible, the best tasting products possible, and then of course at the end of the day our end goal is to boost the immune system so that we can fight off this virus or any other diseases. So farming is the way to go with that.
Absolutely. Part of the show is part of what I want to do with this show is to talk about food. And of course, not just the end product of food, and that is why we're having the show today on actually growing and producing our own food products. But one of the concerns that I have, and I was having this conversation with my sister, and then further, a colleague of mine from the university came up with a wonderful idea. One of the concerns that we have with everybody now, because there's a major passion for growing foods in our backyards and seeing who could produce the biggest avocados and the longest corn and so on. What happens to if 50 people are in the neighborhood and everybody is producing quality products, producing an abundance of products? What happens to those products at the end of the day? There's only so much consumption that you can do. Never mind, you want to have the best produce, the best products at the end of the day. What happens to the excess? And that is a concern that I have. And so Bridget Roll Hogg, a colleague of mine from the University of the Bahamas, we wrote a proposal that we presented to BAIC and the minister that takes the end of the produce, the excess, and package it and produce other kinds of produce or products from the raw produce, and that is my concern. We know that islands like Andros, there is an abundance of produce that is just put on the side of the road because no one is thinking about what happens to it afterwards and how we can take the excess onions and make onion powder and those kinds of things. Where is the mechanism for that? And so we wrote a proposal where we would all and sundry, even my neighbors who are producing, can bring the excess into a single portal, a single area, and we then take it. We do the recycling. We do the production of the dry fruit, the this, the that, and we recycle, which is a major one of the targets in the Sustainable Development Goals, the recycling of products. And so we have this wonderful facility, and we're hoping that this is a shameless plug for us to have that funded. because it really would solve the problem of the excess that we would produce. And I see it now. I haven't seen this kind of passion for farming in years.
Yep.
In
Yep.
years. Everybody's producing. But what happens to it at the end of the day? We can really be the providers of all of the things that we now purchase in the grocery store. We could actually provide those things ourselves. Jamaica is doing it. Other islands in the Caribbean are doing it. When are we, we always consider ourselves the leader. What are we waiting on?
We have the, like, I love exactly what you just stated. Waste not, want not. And I think that was not a shameless plug. That needed to be inside there because repetition, people needs to hear that.
Yes.
All right? So waste not, want not. If we have all these products and stuff inside of our yards, inside the Bahamas, and it's spoiling, if we look again at the vision and the goal of countries, major places, we're talking about a 20, 30-year plan. You see some places that were third world countries that were saying that they wanted to be the top in tech, technology and stuff. And they created that within 10 years, and you see that their goal has come to fruition. If we have a goal that we want to say that we want Bahamians to be the healthiest people in the world,
It could happen.
let's set our mark, because we are in Eden. we live in heaven.
We live in paradise.
All right? So when we have these products, now that we can start to say, like you were saying, dry them out. We have the most sun in the world.
Exactly.
You don't need electricity, you just need a couple of boxes and shelves and stuff to hang them up so they can dry. Anything that is dry contains, it is 3 times as powerful as it is, from when it is actually raw itself, just by itself.
Absolutely.
So now if we're looking at becoming this 20, 30-year plan of becoming the healthiest people in the world, now we're taking all of those dried fruits and vegetables, and we can now package those, and we can add them to our breakfast smoothies.
Absolutely.
We can add
things
them
that we are
food.
purchasing now in the grocery stores that's coming from other places. We can now be the producers of our own food, fruits, vegetables, everything. We can now be the producers of them ourselves.
Exactly.
And what are we waiting on?
Exactly.
We just need the will to do it and to make it happen. And I think throughout the pandemic and the lockdown, we've had an opportunity to sit back and think about some things and think about what it is that we really want. We talk about sustainability, but we say that very loosely. Are we really serious? And so my hope is that the country moves with a clarity in that area of getting us to be truly sustainable. But I want to talk about another area of your life, and that is art. Another part of the show deals with art. And I know that you're also an artist. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got my introductory into the art world through Junkanoo. Junkanoo, they teach us all the disciplines and the characteristics which comes in with art. Of course, you need your clean space. You need a fresh mind. The creative thoughts start to come once there's no clutter or anything like that inside your mind or anything. Then you start to have your vision as to what you want to portray to somebody else.
Yes.
And through colors, through shapes. And I try to do the same thing with the farming.
So you've been able to mesh the two,
Yes.
the farming and the art. And I understand that you're Saxon, is that true?
No, man, no, man, no, man. Big time Valley boy, all day Valley boy. Can't see them Saxons. I like the competition. I like the scrap group coming up behind us, You always like the little brother coming up saying, listen, I could beat you, I could beat you.
We're not gonna have this conversation about Junkanoo. Because that's art in and of itself, but and it's a healthy competition.
Yep.
So you've been able to incorporate the artistic flair into your artwork. Later on today, we're going to see a little bit of this art form that Philip is talking about, and so and how he's been able to incorporate both of them. Do you do any other kinds of art? I know you do the Junkanoo art. Do you do anything else? I'm understanding you work with conch shell as well.
Yep, I'm into carving conch shells and doing shapes and stuff with those right now as well. So,
okay, he's a true artist.
Yeah, pretty much anything I can get my hands onto, I try to do a little bit of artwork with. Because in between the farmings and stuff like that, the creativity is coming, it's just bursting out, and I have to get it out some way, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Philip, it's really nice to have spoken with you. And
Pleasure.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take this show now to the practical side of it, and I'm going to actually get my hands in the dirt, if you will. And so I want to thank Philip for elucidating his thoughts on sustainability, the whole idea of sustainable farming, and certainly incorporating art into farming. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.